Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly phenomenal piece of classical Vedic literature, the Kanakadhara Stotram. You know, this isn't just some ancient poem collecting dust on a shelf. It's an absolute cornerstone of culture that literally shaped devotional practices for centuries. We're looking at a masterclass in Sanskrit meter, deep spiritual philosophy, and the relentless pursuit of grace. We're going to deconstruct the original source text today to see exactly how this operates on both a linguistic and, well, a deeply spiritual level.
So, here is our roadmap for the explainer. We'll kick things off with a brief intro to the Stotram itself, then move into its profound reverence for the Divine Mother. After that, we'll break down the rhythmic structure of its salutations, uncover the legendary Shankaracharya and the text origins, and finally, look at the daily practice and the immense benefits it promises.
Section 1, Introduction to the Stotram. To really get a feel for this text, we've got to go straight to the source.
Just listen to these opening lines. Vande vandaru mandaramendirananda kandalam, amandananda sando habandhuram sindurananam. I mean, wow, right? Even if you don't know a word of Sanskrit, you can instantly hear that incredibly complex, beautiful rhythm. The alliteration, the internal rhyming, it's basically designed from the ground up to be chanted out loud. In an era before mass printing, these intricate rhymes were crucial memory aids. They made sure the text survived for generations purely by word of mouth. It draws you right in, creating this immediate auditory focus that puts the practitioner straight into a meditative state. But beyond just sounding beautiful, this is a highly structured poetic masterpiece. As we dig into the source material, three massive themes keep echoing back to us: devotion, abundance, and the pursuit of grace. This isn't just a simple prayer asking for a favor. It's a profound expression of the bhakti tradition, where absolute devotion is seen as the key to unlocking literal cosmic abundance. Think about other major bhakti hymns from the era, like the Bhaja Govindam, which has a very strict ascetic focus. Well, the Kanakadhara Stotram takes a completely different path. It actually embraces the material world, asking for tangible prosperity while keeping that deep spiritual reverence completely intact.
Which brings us to Section 2, Reverence for the Goddess. Let's look at exactly who these verses are addressing.
Throughout the text, the author uses a whole array of titles for the divine feminine. We're talking names like Kamala, Indra, Lakshmi, and Ramam. Specifically, the text calls her Tribhuvanamataram, the mother of the three worlds. Historically speaking, this is huge. By using all these different titles, the text is actually invoking different facets of her power. It spans everything from her pure grace and beauty to her absolute supreme authority over all of creation. It paints this incredibly multidimensional portrait for the student.
And this brilliantly illustrates the poetic duality used to describe her. So on one hand, the text calls her Bhujanga Shayanganayaha, the one resting with Lord Vishnu on the cosmic serpent. This points straight to her supreme cosmic position. But then, on the other hand, she's called Makaralaya Kanyakayaha, the daughter of the ocean, that grounds her in these grand elemental origins. It's a duality that heavily influenced later devotional traditions, basically giving everyday people a way to worship a deity who is at once an untouchable cosmic queen and an approachable earthly mother.
All right, Section 3, the rhythmic salutations. Let's dig into the structural heart of this prayer, where the repetition really builds momentum. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer architectural discipline of the verses. Notice the strategic repetition of namostu, which translates to salutations. Over and over you chant, Namostu Devyai Bhrigunandanaye, Namostu Vishnu Urasistaye. That repetitive structure is entirely on purpose. In traditional devotional practices, this rhythmic looping acts like an anchor. It clears your mind of all the daily static and builds up this powerful, almost hypnotic momentum of reverence.
And what exactly are the promises made if you offer these salutations? Well, the source text doesn't hold back. It's incredibly explicit about the immense powers of this devotion. It describes her grace as Sampat Kairani, bringing great wealth. It's Sakalendriya Nandanani, pleasing to all the senses. Get this, it even holds the power of Samrajya Dana Vibhavani, the actual power to grant empires. I mean, there is no way around it. This wasn't just hoping for a good harvest. It was a spiritual tool used for immense socio-political power. Plus, crucially, it's Duritoda Daro Nudyatani, dedicated to lifting us out of difficulties. We are talking massive, sweeping promises of material and spiritual abundance here.
That naturally leads us into Section 4, Shankaracharya and the origins. It's time to anchor these ancient verses to their historical creator. Because whenever we study Vedic literature, this question always pops up. Who exactly composed this, and what gives them the authority to make such incredible promises?
The text actually gives us the answer right in its concluding lines. It says, Suvarnadhara Stotram, Adi Shankaracharya nirmitam. Literally, the golden shower stotram, which was created by Shankaracharya. So the crucial point is that this isn't just some anonymous folk song, it's directly attributed to one of the most prominent, heavy-hitting philosophers in all of Indian history, the man who basically consolidated the doctrine of Advaita Vedanta while walking across the entire Indian subcontinent on foot.
And the colophon goes even further to lock in its historical pedigree. It explicitly identifies Sri Shankaracharya as the disciple of the revered Govinda Bhagavat Pada, Sri Govinda Bhagavat Pujya Pada Shishyasya. Now, students of Vedic literature know knowledge without a lineage is kind of seen as unverified. So by explicitly naming his guru, Shankaracharya is firmly planting this text into a highly respected tradition of spiritual knowledge. He's letting the reader know that this stotram carries the full weight of a profound philosophical lineage.
Finally, let's hit Section 5, Daily Practice and Benefits. How did traditional students actually use this text every single day?
The text leaves us with a highly specific instruction, trisandhyaṃ yah pate nityam sa Kubera samo bhavet. This isn't just a nice poetic wrap-up, it's an exact, practical formula for achieving the grace we've been talking about. It transforms the text from something you just listen to passively into something you actively practice.
Let's move to and see how this builds into a daily routine. Step 1. Yah pata nityam, whoever reads this constantly. Step 2. Trisandhyaṃ, doing it 3 times a day. Historically in Vedic literature, these junction points, dawn, noon, and dusk, are the sandhya times, which are supercharged moments for spiritual practice. And step 3 is the payoff, sa Kubera samo bhavet. They become equal to Kubera, the god of wealth. The text basically frames this spiritual benefit as the inevitable result of strict daily devotion.
So pulling it all together, what are our main takeaways from the source material? First, the rhythmic devotion built into the Sanskrit meter is explicitly designed to create intense spiritual focus. Second, through that deep focus, honoring the Divine Mother promises immense grace and actual material abundance. And third, these benefits don't just happen. They are unlocked through consistent, structured daily practice, that essential trisandhyaṃ discipline.
Which leaves us with a pretty profound question to ponder. If dedicating yourself to reciting these ancient verses promises the ultimate wealth of Kubera, how does this traditional Vedic practice reshape our modern, and let's be honest, often fragmented understanding of the relationship between devotion and true abundance? It's definitely a fascinating thought to chew on. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer of the Kanakadhara Stotram. Keep exploring, and I'll catch you next time.